Have you ever thought about how some people seem to be able to defy time constraints and be so productive that they can write multiple books a year, give a lot of speeches, run a lot of successful businesses, and still find time to volunteer, connect with nature, and travel the world? It seems impossible that they are able to do what they do because they are so good at handling their time. In an interesting investigation, Inc. magazine talked to the heads of 50 businesses that were growing quickly to find out what their most important time management habits were. Out of 50 people surveyed, 49 said they used a very simple but very effective plan every day. They wrote down their tasks on a yellow pad before the day even started. This old method, which doesn't use any current digital tools or complicated systems, stresses the importance of a list that you can see and touch. Things are added, and when they are done, they are crossed off. Any jobs that aren't finished by the next day are passed over. This method stands out because it is clear, simple, and directly connects with one's goals. It shows that sometimes the simplest tools, like a pad of paper and a pen, are the best ones for learning the art of time management. Time and knowledge are two more important things that people value in the world of work today. Time is the most valuable thing in business today. Length or speed is the most important way to measure time. Having a sense of urgency is the most important thing you can do to improve your time management. You feel a sense of anxiety when you know you need to act quickly when a chance comes up. Develop a desire to move. A fast pace is necessary for success. People who are successful work very, very, very hard and very, very quickly. Now, everyone needs to keep working on cutting down on the time it takes to do the same things. People will gladly pay a lot of money to anyone who can get them the goods and services they want faster. People are willing to pay more for someone who can meet their wants faster. If you're trying to figure out how to manage your time or what you need to do every day, it's best to focus on results instead of tasks. There's always too much to do and not enough time. Right now, the average person has about 300 hours of work to do, including reading books, magazines, and newspapers, as well as chores at home, at work, and elsewhere. You will never catch up. That's the truth. One of the most important things they learned about managing your time is that you can only get your life under control if you stop doing things. That's right. You stop doing things. What are some of the things you no longer do? I think the 80-20 rule is the best way to set goals and figure this out. That 2 of the 10 things you have to do every day will be worth more than the other 8 put together. Of all the things you do, 80% of the effects come from the top 20%. So you have to ask yourself, what are the 1 or 2 things on this list that are more important than everything else? And which one of these things would I make sure to do today if I had to leave town for a month? That becomes your top priority. Over the years, I've written books on time management, taught hundreds of thousands of people how to do it, and my audio and video programs on time management are available in multiple languages around the world. It all comes down to one thing: picking your most important task right now, starting it right away, and then forcing yourself to stay on it until it's done. To clear up small things first is a mistake. The small things will keep piling up, and before you know it, you'll have spent the whole day doing small things. The answer to the question, why am I so productive? How do I write 4 books a year, give 100 talks, run free businesses, and do so much else, volunteer, nature, travel, all over the world? The first thing I did was learn time management. I've been studying it for 15 years now. I have spent a huge amount of money on this subject. I have libraries full of books. I've been to a huge number of classes. I've listened to all the radio tapes, and I have bought and used every time planner ever made for managing your time. And I learned that setting goals is one of the most important parts of managing your time. and I believe that the two most important skills for success in life are the ability to focus and concentrate. Being able to focus clearly on what you want to do and be able to concentrate on that one thing without getting sidetracked or distracted are the keys to success. To be successful, you must be able to look at your work and use the 80-20 rule. Ask yourself, which 20 of the things I have to do make up 80% of the value of my work? Then you must always focus on those 20 things. Life is like that. You can't do everything, but you can always do the important things. People don't do what is fun and easy, like most people do. They also don't make a list of everything they need to do, and then work on the things that aren't important. At the end of the day, they haven't accomplished anything. Peak workers and people who are successful focus on the most important things. Also, know that you should only work on the most important things on your list. Time management is more than just managing your time, it's managing your whole life. If you plan your time well, you can do anything you want with your life. Every day is the same length of 24 hours, and the key to success is being able to focus on one thing at a time. This means training yourself to use grit and persistence to do so. Not being able to focus on just one thing at a time has never stopped anyone from doing great things. Always think about how to make the best use of your time. Time management is probably the most important skill you can have if you want to be successful and reach your goals in every area of your life. Your bosses will notice you more quickly. You'll be able to get more done in less time. You'll feel better about yourself, and you'll get promoted faster, be given more responsibility, get paid more, and everything else. It's not just important for your work that you know how to handle your time. You also feel good about yourself when you know you're in charge of your life and time. Really, the main cause of stress in the US is feeling like you can't handle things and have too much to do, but not enough time to do it. I'm going to give you my best question about managing your time for free. It's very simple. Before you do anything, ask yourself, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Write it down and ask yourself, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? Every time you get in your car or leave the office or the house, and whenever you feel like doing something small and unimportant, that order will go BAM! You should ask yourself, what is the most valuable use of your time right now? This will force you to do that thing, and you feel great when you're doing the best thing with your time. The focused work that you do gives you energy and passion. When you're working on something important, it makes you feel great. When you're working on something minor, it doesn't make you feel anything. You can't just put things off. They will steal your time and your life. If you want to do better than your competitors, both inside and outside of your company, you need to make it a habit to act quickly when you need to. You need to get a name for being quick and reliable. The great thing about feeling like you need to act quickly and making it a habit is that the faster you move, the better you get. This is because moving faster gives you more experience, more knowledge, and more skill. Moving faster also gives you more energy and excitement. If you move quickly all the time, you quickly change into a completely different person than someone who moves slowly or doesn't take their work seriously. One thing my friend Jim Rohn always said that I liked was, casualness brings casualties. To put it simply, successful people are more productive than failed people. Smarter people have better habits. They have high hopes. They have written goals to follow. They don't lose sight of what they need to do. They focus on getting better at what they love to do. They make the most of the skills they were born with. They are always coming up with new ways to solve problems and help the company reach its goals. They make the most of every minute of their time to get the most done. Get an idea of how important it is. People who don't feel a sense of urgency are only 2% of the community. 2% of people do things quickly. 2% of people are more likely to act than think. Tom Peters writes in his great book, In Search of Excellence, all the excellent companies have a bias for action, and all of the companies that do not classify or commit to the excellence category do things when they get around to it. This means that if you call them with a problem or complaint, you'll hear back from them 3 or 4 weeks later. But when you call a good company with a problem or complaint, bang, someone will get back to you in 2 minutes. Call IBM or Hewlett-Packard and say, I'm having trouble getting some information. I'm having trouble with my PC. They won't let you hang up until they've fixed your problem. When you call the other companies, they'll say things like, that's not my job. The person who handles that isn't here. I don't know. Can you take a message? I don't have a pencil, and so on. You've talked to those people, and now they don't understand why they're having so much trouble. In an interesting fact, you know that 80% of businesses in every field make 80% of the income. So get used to feeling like things need to be done right away. Become known as someone who gets things done quickly, and your future will just appear in front of you. You might have 2 employees in your company. Both were pretty good at what they did, but one of them felt like they needed to get things done quickly because they felt like they were falling behind. They took everything you gave them and ran with it like a football player catching a pass and going for the goal line. The other person worked on it after lunch, or maybe next Monday, or there's no need to hurry. Weeks are almost over Thursday afternoon, and so on. Which one do you think should have more responsibility? Which one would you push? Which one do you want to train with your money? In places where you need help, which one would you send? It's always the person who feels like they need to act quickly. As an advisor, the sense of urgency has helped me make hundreds of thousands of dollars. When my clients give me a job to work on, I act quickly to save them sometimes millions of dollars. If I had waited even 1 day, it could have cost a lot of money. It's also helpful to get into the habit of working quickly, acting quickly, doing things right away, doing things right away, doing things right away, especially when you're selling. If someone calls you with a question or a problem, get back to them right away. If someone needs something, move on it quickly. Move quickly if you have to skip lunch, coffee breaks, or anything else. It would be worth a lot of money for you to get known for being fast. Even though it takes a little while, most people do it as they go along with their lives. They just do it whenever they feel like it. But all great people, all high achievers, feel like time is running out. Want to find a good mix between work and life? Here are 4 time management tips. Now, the way you handle your time is very much up to you. It's up to you whether you want to be ordered or not. You can either focus on the things that are most important to you or spend your time doing things that don't add much to your life. You have the choice to be grateful or angry. You can always make your own decision. Now, the first thing you need to do to get past your old training and get rid of the mental blocks that are stopping you from managing your time well is to make the choice that you are going to get better at how you use your time. To make your life better, you need to decide right now that you are going to learn how to handle your time well. Your aim should be to handle your time so well that people look up to you and use you as a role model for their own work habits. To get a better work-life balance, here are 4 time management techniques that will help you set yourself up for top success. Here they are. The first of these methods for training your inner mind is positive self-talk, or the use of positive statements. These are orders that you pass from your aware mind to your subconscious mind. Positive affirmations are words that you say either out loud or you say to yourself. But with the same emotion and enthusiasm that drives the words into your subconscious mind as new operating instructions, so to improve your time management, you can continually repeat positive affirmations such as, I have beautiful work-life balance, or I concentrate easily on my highest payoff tasks. My best time management mantra is, I use my time well, I use my time well, I use my time well, And I say this to myself over and over again. When you repeat positive mantras over and over, they're finally accepted by your subconscious mind as part of your new training. You will then find that your outward actions will start to mirror your internal training to improve your work-life balance and quality of life. Now, the second method that you can use to train your subconscious mind is through visualization. Mental pictures most quickly affect your subconscious mind. In self-image psychology, the person you see is the person you will be. Through positive mantras and clear mental pictures, begin to see yourself as well-organized, efficient, and effective in time management. Recall and recreate memories and pictures of yourself when you are working at your best, when you felt very efficient and effective and in control. Think of a time when you were working efficiently and successfully and getting through a huge amount of work. Play this picture over and over of yourself and screen of your subconscious mind until your subconscious mind accepts this as your reality. Now, the third time management method is simple. Sit or lie in a quiet place where you can be fully alone in the silence. Through positive mantras, picture yourself going through an important future experience such as a meeting, a talk, a discussion, or even a date that would improve the quality of your life. As you sit or lie completely relaxed, create a picture of the coming event and see it unfolding perfectly in every respect, like a movie of your mind. See yourself as calm and positive and in complete control. See the other people doing and saying exactly what you would want them to do if the situation was perfect. The fourth mental technique will change the quality of your life through experience of time management. Imagine that you have been selected for a role in a movie or stage play. In this role, you are to act the part of a person who is extremely well organized in every respect. As you go through your daily life, imagine you are an actor who is playing this part, who is already very good at time management. Act as if you are already using your time efficiently and well. Pretend that you are an expert in personal efficiency and time management. Fake it until you make it. When you pretend that you are excellent in time management, eventually the action which is under your direct control will develop a mindset or the belief in your subconscious mind. In other words, you can act yourself into feeling and believing yourself to be excellent in time management. The Greeks said that moderation in all things is the key to a happy life. Moderation now. Sometimes people say, well, I don't have time for my family. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time for this and time for that. Whenever you find yourself getting out of sync with regard to balance, and especially when you feel that you don't have the time, is when you most need to stop and think. So here's the question to ask. What would I do if I only had 6 months to live? If you find yourself working too hard or not spending time in your relationship, not spending time with the people you care about and who care about you, then ask yourself, what would I do if I only had 6 months to live? And if what you would do is you'd spend more time with the important people in your life, the time to start spending that time is now. So what would you do if you had 6 months to live? You know, it's an old joke that doctors say, is that they never met a businessman on his deathbed who said, "Boy, I wish I'd spent more time at the office." The fact of the matter is that balance and moderation in all things increase your productivity, increases your efficiency, and remember, the only reason you're working is so that you can enjoy the great things of life, which are your people, your relationships, the things that make you happy, and so on. Imagine that you are financially independent, that you have £20 million in the bank, and simultaneously you only have 10 years to live. You're going to enjoy superb health, but you have all the money that you need, and you have to work at something. You cannot be a layabout. So therefore, if you could work at anything, and you had all the money you needed, and you didn't want to waste any time, what career would you choose? If you could wave a magic wand and have all the talent and skill that you need to be successful in any field, what field would you choose for yourself? And then what you do is you just start to do some research on that field, working it part-time, working it for free, read books and courses, talk to people who are in it. And I have spoken to literally thousands of people over the years who did that and eventually changed out of their current job, sometimes within their same company, changed out of their current job where they weren't very satisfied into a new job that they loved, and they became a star at that new job. And virtually everybody can do this. Now I'm going to tell you about my best time management rule. It's called the Law of Three, and it will make you one of the most successful and productive people in the world. The Law of Three is based on my 30 years of study into time management, and what it basically says is that if you make a list of everything that you have to do in a week or a month, you'll come up with 20 or 30. Some people write down 40 or 50 tasks or activities. But if you look at this list, you'll find there's only 3 activities that you engage in your life that account for 90% of the value that you contribute in your life. Wherever you are in life, there's only 3 things that account for 90% of your happiness. Only 3 things. This law of 3 works everywhere, and it works for everyone. It works if you're a doctor or an investment banker or a salesperson or a business owner or student, whatever. There's always 3. And so what you do is you take and make a list of everything you do, and then you ask 3 questions. Question number 1 is that if I could only do one thing on this list all day long, which one activity would have the greatest positive impact on my life? Or you could say, if I could only do one activity all day long, which one activity would help me to double my income faster than anything else? And that answer is usually pretty obvious. So you put a circle on that. And then you ask it again, if I could only do 2 things all day long, what would be the second most valuable thing that I could do? Let me go through your list, and you'll come up with number 2. And then you ask the question the 3rd time, if I could only do 3 things all day long, what would be number 3? And you circle it. Now I put every one of my students through this exercise, and they're all astonished because in a few minutes they see clearly that these are the 3 most important things that they do in achieving their goals of health, wealth, and happiness. And so the rule is this: do fewer things in your daily life, but do more important things and do them more of the time. And then get better, improve in each one of those areas. So in your life there's 3 things that you do that are more important than everything else, and these will change over time, but you must be clear about those 3 things. And if you start working on only those 3 things, you will double your productivity, performance, and output very quickly. If you can concentrate on the 3 most important things you do well, there's 4 requirements for you to make these techniques work for you. We call these the 4 Ds. The first D is desire. It's want. You must have a burning desire to be effective at time management. The second D is decision. You must make a decision that you are going to become an expert in this subject. You are going to take this course. You're going to use these materials. You're going to practice them over and over again, because what we have found is in the absence of a decision, nothing ever happens. You need a clear, unequivocal do or die, burn the bridges, decision that this is a subject that you are going to master. The third D is discipline. You must discipline yourself to practice and repeat over and over again good time management techniques. In fact, we say that time management is self-discipline in action, and the ability to discipline yourself more than anything else is going to determine your success in life. And the fourth D to become excellent in time management is determination. You must have the ability to persist. You must have the determination to keep on keeping at it, on at it long enough until you become very, very good in this field. But I promise you this, the payoff is tremendous, because you see, time management is really life management, Everything that you do to improve the quality of your time management will improve and enhance every part of your life. You can even say it this way: the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your time management. The quality of your life will be determined by the way you use your time, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, because your time is your life. In every single study of high-performing men and women, we find that intense result orientation goes hand in hand with big payoffs in life. You see, it's not how much time you put in or the activities that you engage in, or how sincere or how intelligent or competent or capable or anything else. It's only what you produce, the results that you get from the time that you put in, that counts in determining your rewards, not only your psychic rewards, how good you feel about yourself, but your financial rewards. You're always paid in direct proportion to the quality and the quantity of the results that you produce. Point number 1 is that your rewards in life will always equal your results. We call this the law of sowing and reaping, the law of cause and effect, that the cause of everything that happens to you is your ability to get results, and these are your rewards. If you want to increase the quality and quantity of your rewards, you have to think all the time about increasing the quality and quantity of your results. The second thing I want to say is that most people are not very productive. Most people could not do a full day's work if their life depended upon it. In fact, every study that I've ever seen suggests that the average person works at only 50% of capacity. In fact, in most work environments, about 30% of all the work time is spent in socializing, gossiping, wasting time talking, chit-chatting, hanging around the water fountain, reading the newspaper, drinking coffee, and so on. What does it mean to you? It means that the average person is working at 50% or less of capacity. There are tremendous opportunities for you if you'll do some of the things that we talk about to rapidly move ahead of other people. The starting point of getting things done is the quality of neatness. The quality of neatness means that you start with a clean desk and you end with a clean desk. You start with a clean briefcase and you end with a clean briefcase. Your whole workspace looks clean, professional, productive, and effective because you take the time to make sure it does. Remember this: it's not just what you do, but it's the perception of other people of what you do that counts. I read a story by a self-made millionaire who said that he built 5 successful companies on one of their critical rules was that every single person kept going there. Yes. Now, the fourth key in getting things done is the importance of focus. Focus, which leads to clarity, and we talk about this over and over again. Focus, which leads to clarity, and we talk about this over and over again. Focus means that you're absolutely clear about what you're trying to accomplish. Focus means that you're absolutely clear about your key result areas and why you're on the payroll. We say that fuzzy focus leads to fuzzy results. Clear focus leads to clear results. And this means that you take the time to think. You take the time to think through, why am I on the payroll? What have I been hired to accomplish? What are my key result areas? What are my core functions? What are the 20% of the things that I do that account for 80% of my results? So on. So the starting point in getting things done is focus and clarity. I call this it's like adjusting the camera all the time, so you keep your focus very, very clear. Well, the next key principle is concentration. Concentration is what you do once you've decided on the most important idea to achieve your most important goal. Then you have to concentrate single-mindedly on one thing until it's complete. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, the richest man in the world and the third richest man, were at a dinner party at Bill Gates' home last year, and there were about 100 guests standing around at the reception, drinking wine, and so on. These 3 men, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates' father, are good friends, and so they were sitting, They were standing, talking, and one of the other guests came up and said, "Excuse me, gentlemen, you were three of the most important people in the world. What would you say is the most important key to success today?" And they stopped talking, and they all turned and they said, "Focus. Focus is the most important quality for success today. We're so surrounded by so many distractions of so many kinds that the ability to focus is more important for success than any other quality." Now, I developed a philosophy when I was young and broke, and the philosophy was that if rich, successful people tell you to do something, you should do it. If they tell you that this is a key to their success, then you should at least practice it for a while to see if it applies to you. What I have learned, and what I learned coaching my clients, my business owners, is I taught them how to focus. I taught them how to select specific goals and activities in each area of their life, and how to focus like a laser beam on one goal at a time. If you can do that, you can conquer the world. Now, concentration is in reality where all the work in time management leads us to. It is the ability to concentrate 100% on one thing, setting priorities, the most important thing, and to stay with that single task until it's finished. Concentration means moving forward in a straight line toward the goals and objectives that you've clearly identified. It means concentrating without diversion or distraction. Focus and concentration, I believe, in 25 years of research, that the reasons for success and happiness in life are focus and concentration. The reasons for a lack of success and unhappiness are lack of focus, lack of concentration. I have found the most important time management or personal productivity principle of all, and it is this. Make a list of everything you do in the morning before you start work, and then select the one item on that list that's more important than any others in terms of potential consequences, and then start on that one task, and then work on it 100% of the time until it's complete. Now, if you can do that, you can double and triple your productivity, become one of the highest paid and most respected people in your world. Select your most important task, start on it immediately, work on it 100% of the time until it's complete. Because here's what I discovered in 30 years of studying and writing books on time management. It's not tasks that you work on, but it's only the tasks that you complete. If you're a student, it's completing your assignments and your reports. If you're a salesperson, it's completing the sales. If you're a business person, it's completing different transactions. Everything in life is completing tasks. Now, here's a wonderful payoff. When you complete an important task, it gives you an increased sense of self-esteem and personal power. Your self-confidence goes up. You get more energy and more ideas. You feel happy about yourself whenever you complete the task. Your brain gives you a rush of endorphins, and endorphins make you happy and more alert and more creative. They strengthen your immune system so that you're never sick. So you'll find that what successful people do is they're always starting and completing tasks, and especially they start and complete them on time. Now, what does this require? It requires our old friend and enemy, self-discipline. Now, what we know about task completion is that not only is it the key to the future, not only is it the key to getting more and greater and better opportunities, but important task completion, doing something that's important to you and carrying it through and finishing it 100% at the end, is a source of energy, enthusiasm, and high self-esteem. Men and women who are working consistently on getting important things done and staying with them to their complete are more positive, they're more optimistic, they're more self-confident and full of confidence, they have more belief and self-assurance in themselves, and they get more opportunities to complete more tasks. And here's the flip side. Completing low-priority tasks leads to stress. If you work and you get a lot of little things done, but they're not moving you toward the accomplishment of things that are really important to you, what happens is you just feel crummy as a result. We find that the average Brit average German, average French person works about 1,600 hours a year. Average executive or business owner works about 2,000 hours a year. So what you do is you take your annual income and you divide it by 2,000. So let's say you're earning £100,000 a year divided by 2,000. That means that you're earning £50 an hour. This is your hourly rate. Over time, you can include all your benefits and pensions and so on. But whatever this is, let's say your hourly income is £50 an hour. That means by law, but Ricardo's law, Ricardo, the David Ricardo, the British economist law of comparative advantage, is you don't do anything that pays less than £50 an hour. You only do things that pay you 50 quid an hour or more, or that people would pay you 50 quid an hour or more to do. And everything else, you delegate. If there's something that someone else can do for £10 an hour, you hire somebody to do that. £20 an hour, £30 an hour. You keep hearing people who can do things, tasks at a lower hourly rate than yourself. Now, here's the great discovery, and this can be life-changing. I call it the law of three. The law of three says that no matter how many things you do, how many tasks you do in a week or a month, and it's usually 20 or 30, 3 of those tasks account for 90% of your value. Only 3. And you make a list of all of your tasks, and I do this with my business owners, and I have them go through this, and they're astonished, and they double their income within 30 days. Because I ask them the 3 magic questions. Magic question number 1. If you could only do one thing on this list, one task on this list all day long, which one task would have the greatest positive impact on your career? Which one task? Well, it'll usually then you say, if you could only do 2 things all day long, which would be number 2? And you put a circle around that. If you could only do 3 things all day long, which would be number 3? Put a circle around that. And suddenly, it's almost like all these other tasks fade again, like in a camera shoot in a movie, a fade, and those 3 tasks are sitting there like those 3 magic tabs, and you realize, oh my God, those are my big 3. Everything else is secondary. Everything else can be done by someone else, or done later, or not done at all. And then you focus on the 3. So here's the rule for doubling your income, and doubling it again, and I'll win it again. Do fewer things, but do more important things, and do them more often and get better at them. Repeat. Do fewer things. The big 3. Do more important things. Do more of them. Spend more of your day working on those 3 tasks, and then get better at those tasks, so you can get more than done faster at a higher level of quality. If you will follow the law of 3, you'll change your life. If you combine that with the eat the frog and work on your most important task, the one that can contribute the most value, and you can do that until it becomes a habit, just automatically get up in the morning and you just start work on your most important task, and you say, no, I don't do that. I don't do little tasks. Those are not my job. People say, what about this? What about that? I said, excuse me, I'm management, not labor. I do management tasks. I do my big 3. Labor does all this other things. So you, the person who's watching this right now, is your management of labor. Think of yourself as management and do your 3 jobs. If you can do that until it becomes a habit, you're going to rule the world. To all of us over the course of our lives want to build character. And character has been described several ways. One description I like is that character is the ability to follow through on a resolution after the excitement with which the resolution was made has passed. So taking this course, by the way, you'll make a lot of choices and pledges and goals. The real measure of character is whether or not you have the ability to follow through. Character, in fact, is self-discipline in action. Character is being self-disciplined in real life. Character is shown by how ready you are to get in shape and make the short-term changes you need to in order to have a great life in the long run. I started studying time management a long time ago because I thought it would be very useful, and I couldn't believe how much there was in time management. After that, I made shows and books. In 40 languages, my books on time management are now the best-selling in the world. But what I learned was an idea. That idea was called outcomes. I learned that consequences is a very important word in our world. And the reason is that in time management, something is important if it could have big effects, and something is not important if it could have little or no effects. Pinky has the worst effects of all of them. People who are successful tend to do things that have bigger long-term effects than people who are unsuccessful. In fact, the way you think about your time and life has the most important effects on everything else. Plus, you make everything better when you think better, more positively, and more creatively about yourself, your time, your life, your activities, your relationships, your work, and so on. The first thing I want to talk about is the process of creating your own personal theory of time. Now, a personal philosophy of time also means a personal philosophy of life. What does life mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? And in life, there are two main points of view, which are usually very far apart. But sometimes we find ourselves in the middle. The first view, on the other hand, is a good one. Individuals who hold a kindly view of the world are generally optimistic about themselves and their circumstances. They believe in what they can do. They believe in love, life, and beauty. They believe in growing until they reach their full potential. They think things are going well and that they can make a big difference. They can make a difference and do something important with their lives. People who believe in doing good are the ones who have changed and built the world. The other type of person is someone who sees the world in a bad way. If you will, these are people who have a bad mental attitude, and it starts with them having a bad mental attitude toward themselves. They think negatively about other people and about the whole world. They see unfair treatment and tyranny. They see sadness and unhappiness. People are having a hard time and things aren't fair to them. Often they get angry and feel bad about themselves. Unfortunately, a negative view of the world always needs someone or something else to blame, criticize, or put down. That's why people with a bad outlook are always at odds with people who have a good mindset. People with a good, useful, and helpful view of the world are always the most important, productive, and creative. Remember this if you want to reach your full potential. That's the goal. Some people get more done faster because they are very clear on their goals and don't stray from them. It's easier to stop putting things off, eat your frog, and finish the job when you know exactly what you want and what you need to do to get it. Lack of clarity, confusion, and fuzzy-mindedness about what you need to do, in what order, and why, is a big reason why people put things off and don't get motivated. To escape this common problem, you must do everything you can to become more clear in everything you do. People say that being able to focus is a discipline and that determination or resolve is self-discipline in action. That's why you need to keep going until you finish your important job. Anyone can start to do a job, but the key to good success is being able to keep going, keep working hard, and refuse to give up. It's important to remember that most people, especially leaders, pick up an important job or piece of paper up to 5 times before they finish it. What does it mean? It means that if you start working on a job and make it your only attention until it's done, you can save 500% of the time or get 500% more done. After study, it has been shown that the fastest way to get more done is to start a task and stick with it, instead of starting a task and then coming back to it several times. One of the best ways to handle your time and life is to follow the 80-20 rule. The Italian economist Wilfredo Pareto came up with it and wrote about it for the first time in 1895. It is also known as the Pareto principle. In Pareto's society, he saw that people naturally fell into two groups: the vital few, or the richest and most powerful 20%, and the trivial many, or the bottom 80%. In the end, he found that this Pareto principle applied to almost all business action. This rule says that 20% of your activities will lead to 80% of your results. 20% of your customers will lead to 80% of your sales. 20% of your products or services will lead to 80% of your profits. 20% of your tasks will lead to 80% of the value of what you do, and so on. If you have 10 things to do today, 2 of them will be worth as much or more than the other 8 things put together. There is a lot of economic law that says you should always hire someone else to do something if they can be paid less per hour than you want to pay them. If you want to make $25 an hour and it costs $6 an hour to mow your yard or wash your car, you should always hire someone to do those things. If you want to have more time to do more important things, you should always pay someone less per hour. This is how all businesses and groups work. At first, one person does everything, but as the business grows and becomes busy, that person hires others to do lower value tasks so they can spend more time on higher value tasks. If you want to make $25 an hour, never do work that pays $5 an hour. You should only do high-value tasks if you want to get the benefits that come from doing low-value tasks. Remember that time is the only thing that can't be replaced and is necessary for getting things done. Every success takes time, and if you spend it on something unimportant, you lose it forever and can't use it to work on things that are truly important to you. I learned something interesting. It may take the same amount of time to do all of these jobs, but 1 or 2 of them will be worth 5 or 10 times as much as the others. One of the 10 things on your list of things to do is often more important than the other 9 combined. You should always eat this job first, like a frog. Which of these things do you think the average person puts off the most? That's right. The sad truth is that most people put off doing the critical few, the top 10 or 20% of things that are the most useful and important. Instead, they are busy with the unimportant many, the 80% that isn't very important and doesn't add much to the results. Everyone sees people who look like they're busy all day but don't get much done. Almost always, this is because they are putting off doing the 1 or 2 things that could really make a difference for their companies and their jobs while working on chores that aren't very important. The most important things you can do every day are often the hardest and most complicated. But if you do these things well, you can get huge benefits. Because of this, you must totally refuse to work on the tasks in the bottom 80% while you still have tasks in the top 20% to do. Ask yourself every time you start a new task, is it in the top 20% of my list of things to do or in the bottom 80%? And finally, if you want to be successful, don't clean up small things first. Remember that doing something over and over again turns into a habit that's hard to break. If you start the day with low-value tasks, you will quickly get into the habit of always starting over with low-value tasks. You don't want to make or keep this kind of habit. Based on how much you get paid per hour, you need to look at everything you need to do. If you want to make 10, 20, 30, 40 or 50 an hour, you should ask yourself if the work you're doing now pays that much. Because the work I'm doing now is worth the money I get per hour. Or ask yourself this: if you were leaving the newspaper, watching TV, or just hanging out with friends, would you pay someone your hourly rate to do those things for you? How much would you pay someone to watch TV for you for an hour? How much would I pay per hour to watch this TV show? Should be something you think about while you watch TV. The normal person doesn't understand that the time they spend watching TV could make them rich over the course of their working life if they used that time to improve their skills and abilities. A TV can cost you thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars a year if you don't consider the fact that you're not working when you're watching it. Thanks a lot. Starting an important job is always the hardest part. As soon as you start working on something useful, you seem to be naturally driven to keep going. A part of your mind loves to be busy with important jobs that can make a difference. This part of your mind needs to be fed all the time. Thinking about starting and ending a big job gets you going and helps you stop putting things off. It's a fact that the time it takes to do something important is often the same as the time it takes to do something not important. The difference is that when you finish something important and useful, you feel a huge sense of joy and happiness. When you use the same amount of time and energy to finish a low-value job, on the other hand, you don't feel very satisfied. Managing your time is really managing your life or your emotional life. It's really taking charge of how things happen. How you use your time gives you power over what you do next, and you can always pick the job you want to do next. The most important thing for your success in life and at work is being able to pick and choose what's important. People who are effective and productive plan to begin with the most important job at hand. They have to eat that frog against their will. No matter what it is, they get a lot more done than most people and are happy because of it. The way you work should also be like this. Managing your time is a skill that you will use for the rest of your life. You don't just learn it and forget about it. Managing your time is a skill, but it's also like working out, eating, sleeping, and keeping yourself clean by brushing your teeth. The thing needs to be worked on all day, every day. You need to wake up and really think about how you're going to use your time today. Remember that time is life, so you should always be thinking about how you can improve your life. Keeping track of your time in minutes is an important part of managing your time well. We see that the most important and productive people in our society are also the ones who are very good at managing their time. Like accountants, lawyers, and doctors, they keep track of their time in 10-minute chunks. People who aren't successful, on the other hand, keep track of their time in half-days, full days, and weeks. So look at the big picture and be very careful with your time. The next thing is that you know where your time goes. Take the time to think about where your time goes so you can decide if this is how you want to spend your time. You should think about how you spend your time, write it down, and ask yourself all the time, okay, is this in line with what I want to do and what I want to get done? If an activity doesn't help you reach your goals, just say no to it. If something doesn't help you, just say no. You can delay things to give yourself time to decide if you want to do something or not. I've found and used the 24-hour technique to be one of the best methods I've ever come across. Ask for 24 hours to think about it, no matter what someone tells you to do. The night before, the weekend before, and all during the week, think about how you're going to say no. Then, just say no to anything that doesn't help you reach your goals. Harvard University's Dr. Edward Banfield looked into progress in this area for many years. He asked, what are the traits of people that help them move up the social and economic ladder over the course of their lifetime? What are the indicators of upward social evolution? What he discovered was that the most important thing was to look at things from a long-term view. We talked quickly about people with long-term perspective earlier. These are the ones who think about where they are now and where they want to be in 20 years, and make sure that everything they do now will help them in the long run. They are going to work hard today because they know the reward will come a very long time later. It seems that people's views on time get bigger as they get better off socially and financially. So work on the long view. We mean that people who have the long view are ready to give up things in the short term in order to get things in the long term. They are ready to study, plan, prepare, and work. This is the round of practice, the law of accumulation, which says that every great achievement is the result of hundreds of thousands of small efforts that no one sees. But they are willing to do it because they know the payoff will be huge. You can get these things out of taking a lesson or class on time management, and the benefits can last for a long time. The third key that comes out of the long view is the ability to wait to get what you want. Most economists think that the main reason people and even countries fail is that people can't wait to get what they want. They want to spend all of their money and time right now. They would rather do what is fun and easy than what is hard and needs to be done.